What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the YoungRich podcast today. And as you can tell, yes, the setup is a little different. If you look behind me, I got some coffee, I got some snacks, I got a refrigerator, I got a whiteboard in the back. The recording setup's been moving day to day. Obviously, it's been a long time since I posted, and I am sorry about that. I've been active on TikTok for the most part. Talking about trades that have been going on, George Pickens, which we'll get into it a little bit, that trade that I discussed going on, the playoff series, my live reactions, and currently, as we speak right now, I'm obviously watching OKC-Denver on my phone right beneath this camera. But with that being said, hopefully y'all can deal with my background. Obviously, I'll try to get it situated and fixed to back to my normal sporty background, but going room to room, day to day. So with this current moment, this is what we're gonna have to do. No backdrop, no green screen. This is where we at. So let's get right into it. First things first, right? And I discussed this a little bit on my TikTok for those of you people who've already seen it. But the Boston Celtics go down 2-0, 0-2, however you want to put it, to the New York Knicks, right? They blow another 20-point lead, back-to-back 20-plus blown leads. I think first time we've never seen a team be down 20-plus points on the road and come back in this type of fashion like the Knicks have done. What the Knicks have done, has just been absolutely insane and crazy to watch. A game where it looks like there's little to no offense from New York. There's no answers. They look like that regular season team that we've seen struggle against those top 1 through 2 teams in the East type teams. Like, they struggle against those good caliber teams in the East, in the West, all those teams. What their record was like 0-10 versus top 5 teams in the NBA, which we kind of knew, we understood what we were going to expect. And for the first half of these games, the first 24 minutes plus 30 minutes in these games, we saw exactly what we expected. A Boston Celtics team go in there and dominate against a New York Knicks team that we knew was just undermanned, that just didn't have it to get over the hump. And then just a little bit of magic happens, a little bit of spark. They make a couple shots, and all of a sudden an 8-0 run turns into a 20-point comeback led by nobody else than Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges in the clutch. This game, man, the Boston Celtics made 5 field goals the entire fourth quarter of this game, just blowing it away. Like, they're just way too much settling on these jump shots, committing to that we're going to play defense and we're going to shoot a lot of threes, right? They are committed to what they are saying, and you just watch them blow another game like they did on Wednesday night. And then game 3 will be tomorrow, which we will be predicting in a minute. Okay, but listen, Jason Tatum, 1 field goal made the entire fourth quarter. Jaylen Brown, the exact same situation. I don't think he made a single shot in the fourth quarter. Jason Tatum, 32% shooting from 3 in the playoffs this offseason. And listen, Jason Tatum, you heard before during the Olympics, he was struggling shooting the 3 ball. He was struggling in the finals to shoot the 3 ball. And now that 3-point shooting, that issue has translated into the postseason. His ability not to make these 3-point shots like he has been previously in years has kind of held him to struggle offensively, especially in the clutch or when it just comes to being a all-around two-way player, right? And one of the best parts of his game was the ability that he could shoot the 3, he could score from 3, he could score from all 3 levels. And when you take that 3-point shot away from his bag and you are okay with letting him shoot these shots, then it's like, how impactful can he really be in a game like this? So I think Jason Tatum, and I'm not the only one saying this. I think it's pretty clear when you're that size, he's 6'7", 6'8"-ish. Maybe I'm over rating him a little too high, but when you're that big as a wing and you can score like that, you're as good as a player as Jason Tatum is. You should be getting downhill more. You should be trying to get more free throws. You should be trying to get to the line, get some easy buckets. Their easiest bucket that entire second half came off Al Horford setting that high screen and Jason Tatum, nobody coming up to the basket and just dunking it for free with 13 seconds left, whatever it was. Okay. And when you see something like in the back of my mind as I'm watching this game live, I'm thinking, damn, ain't no way New York was playing all this good defense. All of a sudden, 13 seconds left, you let him go untouched straight in for a deuce, right? And it was just, like, for a second, I was like, well, there you go. That's what you've been waiting for these last 2 games, right? Waiting for him to just get downhill and go score some easy buckets. And then it just all hell breaks loose. All of it goes to shit, right? And then obviously, who was it? I think Jalen Brunson gets the free throws. He gets to the free throw line. He shoots his free throws and they go up. And then Mikal Bridges with the game-winning play again, right? This has been such an impactful series for Mikal Bridges because you had the issues going into the season or to start the season where he had that little hitch in his jump shot, right? And it just didn't look right. He wasn't making the three like you thought he was going to do. He wasn't being as impactful as a two-way player as we thought he could be. And then to see him, kind of shrug that off and start turning into Mikal Bridges that we know defensively, everyone was watching what he was putting out on the floor, right? And he was definitely not playing as elite on defense like we expected him to be. And offensively, you would have nights where he would just completely disappear. And when you invest 5 first-round picks into a player like Mikal Bridges, that his two-way ability to do what he needs to do, and he's not performing in the regular season, obviously that's a huge red flag. Obviously, that's a huge issue for this team. Same thing with OG Anunoby. He has not had the season we all expected him to have. Has he been great? Yes. Is he still an elite role player? Yes, he's one of the best in the business when it comes to role players, but he has not, at least in my eyes, performed what I thought he was going to look like in this New York Knicks team. Same goes for Mikal Bridges, right? And so when you finally get those two to start doing what they do best, playing defense, making stops, Mikal Bridges making shots when you need them, and OG Anunoby having to take over game in game 1 like he did. This is just so great to see the New York Knicks finally coming together, the role players at least coming together when they need it. Even Karl Anthony Towns, big credit to him. I'm seeing him play more defense than I ever have in my entire life. I mean, he had 2 key blocks in the second half of this game against Boston that led and helped to this comeback. And then he had 17 rebounds again with it. Like, he has played really, really damn good this postseason so far compared to his standards, right? He still has nights where he just disappears in the fourth quarter. Luckily for him, it didn't bite the Knicks in the ass when he only attempted 1 shot in the whole fourth quarter of this game, right? Because Mikal Bridges got so hot. But Mikal Bridges, 14 fourth quarter points. And listen, the big thing about what's so important of what Mikal Bridges did is that this entire series, you have yet to see the New York Knicks play a great game from the opening tip-off to where the clock hits double zeros and then all of a sudden the game's over. You have yet to see the New York Knicks play a full team. You've heard Josh Hart talk about it when they asked him about, talking about the series and being up 2-0 and stuff like that. And he's even said it, we have to play a full game, a full 48 minutes, because we can't rely on going on a 20-point, coming back down 20. It's just not something that's not a winning recipe for success in this league. So again, the biggest thing to me, if I'm a New York Knicks fan right now, obviously going back home up 2-0, going to the Garden, game 3, one of the most biggest games for that New York Knicks team in their career, right? Like, I mean, they haven't been to the ECF in 15, 20 years, I think that was what they said, what I heard the other day. And could we just imagine, like, listen, we only need them to win 1 of 2 next games, and history, the historics to everything of a team being down 3-0, being down 3-1. The statistics itself should make you feel comfortable that the New York Knicks can win a game, 1 more game out of the next 4, if they get into a situation, or 1 out of the next 3, if they get into a situation like that. And when I look at it, and Jalen Brunson has not had his best stuff, right? I didn't expect Jalen Brunson to have a killer series, specifically against Boston, just due to how good they are defensively. And he has come through game 1. He came through in the fourth quarter. Yesterday he had a couple big buckets that they needed, right? Couple clutch free throws when you needed it most. But I'm still waiting for a Jalen Brunson takeover game, right? I'm waiting for him to go out there and give us 32 points, 34 points, whatever it is, and have an historic night, right? And what better way to do it at home in the Garden with this game being so impactful to determine your future and be able to come out this series with 4 games and advancing to the ECF for the first time in I don't know how long, right? So again, the storylines are so good right now, right? If there was ever an NBA script writer, they are scripting a hell of a fucking series right now, and a hell of a just playoffs in general. Also with the Pacers being down up 2-0, right? Which we will get into a little bit later, okay? And listen, this has just been such a great series to watch. If you would have told me the Boston Celtics would be down 0-2 going into New York, going into the Garden, I would say you're absolutely fucking crazy, right? And so it's just I'm just so happy for the New York Knicks. I'm happy for teams that go out there and do damn near the impossible, right? Because everybody now in the comments on my TikToks like, yo, I picked the Knicks to win in 7. I picked the Knicks to win in 6. But I didn't hear anybody claiming they were going to pick the Knicks to win this series before the series started. Right, like I was talking to a bunch of Knicks fans. They all said they don't even know. They don't know. They were going into the series expecting them to lose in 5, lose in 4, even get swept. Even like they all, majority of Knicks fans would admit if they have a stack of balls that they picked the Knicks to lose this series, and so did I. So did everybody else. So to see a team go out there and take a commanding lead like this in the series, this is just great storylines building up, right? Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, the Boston Celtics losing the first 2 games, man. I mean, you just couldn't ask for any better stuff in the playoffs. These playoff series have been absolutely electric. I mean, outside of, OKC blowing out the Denver by 43 points, that's it. These series and games have been so tight that it's been great to watch. So fun. But I mean, the biggest storyline for this Boston Celtics team is when you're talking about them trying to repeat is you lose one of the next 2. Statistically, you're fucked. You're absolutely your chances of going back to back are little to absolutely none, right? And I know we've seen them that one year against Miami. They won 3 straight. They forced a game 7, but Miami was still able to close it out in 7. Okay, so when you look at what this means, they have to go and win 2 games, right? And everybody wants to talk about the lackluster fourth quarters, the lackluster second half on Boston's behalf, them not being able to make any shots, not be able to shoot the 3 very well, right? But you also have to look at it from the Knicks' perspective, is they have yet to play a full 48 minutes of basketball. And when you put aside that Jalen Brunson has yet to have a Jalen Brunson like game yet, right? When you just look at his playoff numbers in general, these are 2 bad playoff games to Jalen Brunson's standard. So am I confident 1 out of the next 2 games in the Garden he could go out there and give us 32 points and win a game by himself? Because defensively they're doing their part. They're not. I don't think have they gone over 100 yet. I don't know if the last game went over 100 or they kept the Celtics under 100 points. But I mean, man, could you imagine a game 3 Jalen Brunson masterclass to go up 3-0 against the Boston Celtics? Oh my goodness, I am about to cry happy tears because obviously fuck Boston. I'm watching a lot of people post game, a lot of Knicks fans after the game go out there, where they're talking crazy shit to the Boston Celtics right now. And as you should be feeling very good about yourself and about your team. And so I pray to God that the New York Knicks can come out here and win 2 more games, because I'm rooting for him, man. I mean, that would just be absolutely electric, especially for Jalen Brunson. I feel like he's an easily liked player in the NBA nowadays. And Karl-Anthony Towns, could you imagine getting traded from Minnesota and all of a sudden jumping straight into an ECF, possibly a chance at an NBA making an NBA Finals appearance? I mean, that would just be absolutely amazing to hear. But one of the two biggest key players I want to discuss before moving on very quickly is Jaylen Brown, right? Jaylen Brown, the Finals MVP, somebody who you expected to be a great number 2 option to Jason Tatum, that Batman, that Robin to Jason Tatum's Batman, right? They are just 2 phenomenal players next to each other and side by side when they play together. And Jaylen Brown has clearly not been the same, not in the regular season and not this postseason, right? And surely some of it could just be to that lackluster mentality. You win as finals, now you're just trying to cruise through the regular season and get back to the postseason to where, you can finally start that, that important playoff run that to win, to go back to back. But with that knee injury that he had before the season ended and then the injections in his knee, so they said he was going to be able to play, and he just obviously has not looked the same. And when you see a Jaylen Brown that is not playing well, and a KP who I don't know what's going on with him, this illness thing that he's got dealing with, where he's playing in games and he's sitting out in games, and then like in game 2 right now he played and then he didn't close out the game, and then game 1 I believe he didn't even play at all, right? So he is so important to this team and what makes this team so hard to play against, right? Because when you have a 7-footer who can do what he does, shoot like he does, which he hasn't been shooting very well in the first series of the playoffs, right? When you have somebody that impactful to your team and he's not performing the way he is, it's causing red flags. And then when your second best player on your team is not performing like the Finals MVP that we've previously seen before, it's hard for me to sit here and believe they could go not only just win another championship, but come back from a 2-0 deficit like this, because they need every single person to pay their dues. This is what makes their team so deadly. That starting five that they invested so heavily in. That Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Drew Holiday, KP starting five that they invested over $1 billion in on those contracts alone, right? So it is so crucial to see KP come in and make an impact. And when he's not making an impact like that, it just, not only is your offense more condensed, but defensively you're hurting a little bit. And Al Horford can do a great job going in there and playing that small and playing that five, right? We've seen him do it, but his impactfulness on the court is not the same as KP. So when you don't have KP doing what KP does, stretching the floor, being able to rim protect, right? Being a great rim protector, it's hard. Right? It's just hard to make up for that. And then when you have the Boston Celtics going out here running Mitchell Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns lineups, and you're getting dominant on the glass, right? And then you have Mitchell Robinson defensively, what he can do. And now Cat's being able to space the floor, being more like a KP, a stretch four, right? And it just makes it much harder for the Boston Celtics, especially if Mitchell Robinson's out there dominating the glass, rim protecting and doing what he can do. And for the most part, I mean, he's been great out there in those minutes he's had, right? Even though I know the free throws, they've been doing the hack a Shaq shit where the free throws have been an issue a bit, but I still believe Mitch Robinson's putting up great minutes, and I like seeing that lineup where they run Mitch Robinson and Karl-Anthony Towns together, especially if both of them are dominating the glass like they have been. It's just great to see. So the Boston Celtics need to figure it out. Obviously, I'm riding with the Knicks. Knicks, one of the next two. I beg you. I pray you. I'm going to be praying for you guys, and I'm praying on the Boston Celtics downfall, of course. But the next game we're going to talk about is obviously, as they're playing currently right now, is the Oklahoma City Thunder, right? Oklahoma City, I mean, listen, when you come down and you respond in that type of fashion on how you choked game one, I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect. I mean, listen, OKC this year and as the year has been on, they have these quarters where they just go on these unbelievable runs. And when they go on these runs where they just look like they're unfuckable, right? And they just look like their defense, that they're applying pressure defensively, getting steals, getting stops, getting boards, closing possessions, not letting the other team get going, making them play at their pace, not on offense. We're getting out, we're playing fast. Shea's shots are dropping, J-Dub's shots are dropping. Chet is giving you buckets. When your team, even Isaiah Hartenstein with his little floater, and Lou Dort shooting lights out from three. When you have a team playing that good for 12 straight minutes, sometimes it goes longer, but for the most part, it's 12. And you get one quarter of where they just look like that historic team that their numbers say they are. And when you are the team on the opposite side where you can't get buckets for that one, you're struggling for 3 minutes, 4 minutes of not being able to trade buckets or not be able to get stops or any of that. And then this is what can happen. You can see games like this where it ends up being a 43-point win. You can see games where OKC goes out by 25 in the 25 in the first quarter. They had 41-19, I believe, was so whatever that is, 18 points, I think. So that was, I mean, just amazing to watch, because everything for OKC was going so right defensively, offensively, and for Denver, they had one slow quarter, and all of a sudden they're down 20. And then you're put in a shit position. Jokic is forced to try to, be more aggressive on offense. You start seeing the team shoot more threes. And listen, for the most part, when you look at the numbers, I mean, OKC, 44 rebounds, 36 defensive rebounds, to Denver's 38 rebounds and 25 defensive rebounds. And obviously they had their other 16, I believe Denver had 16 offensive rebounds in this game, which is just crazy to think about, right? When you're dominating the glass offensively like that as well. And then you look at the three-point percentage. I mean, OKC shot one more three than Denver, shot 44% from three. Denver shot one less three, 15 made, and shot 40% from three. So Denver was shooting the threes. The three-point margin was equal on both sides. And when you put that into perspective, that Denver and OKC matched three-point production damn near with the attempts and the makes, that is just, I mean, this has to mentally hurt you if you're Denver, right? Just to show like, wow, they just belt to ass. They are really they're just tough team to deal with. And the youthfulness about the team, the energy they play with, when you have guys like Alec Caruso giving you 4 threes, Lou Dort giving you 4 threes, when your role players are playing that good and defensively everything is working, you're switching, you're playing, you're getting steals, getting stops, and Chet Holmgren's out here getting boards, it's a good night if you're an Oklahoma City Thunder fan. So this just proved to everybody who was tripping about them in game 1, showing the youth, showing the inexperience in the playoffs, that, hey, we're still damn near the best team in the NBA. We're still look like the best team in the NBA. And our numbers are our numbers because of how damn great we are. Not by, not because we play good against shitty teams, not because we're just a regular season team, because we are who we say we are, and our numbers are the truth. You know what I'm saying? So again, I couldn't be happier for OKC. SGA 33 points, 11 for 11 from the free throws they made and attempted, which is absolutely crazy. But I mean, yeah, man. Listen, Denver had absolutely no fight when Jamal Murray even had like a solid game, but just nobody really had a terrible game, I would say, for this team outside of MPJ was probably the one that had the worst game. Aaron Gordon obviously didn't have his stuff like he has been, but he's been pretty damn good, so I'm not gonna knock him for it. MPJ I think was 2 for 9 from 3 this entire game. Westbrook was giving you bench production. Christian Brown's kind of hasn't been there. I'm still waiting for him to have a little bit of a takeover game. And yeah, man, when OKC's firing full throttle, I mean, this is exactly what's going to happen, right? And now you're going on the road to Denver, and listen, all OKC needs to do is go out there and win, right? They're not worried about how much. If you win 1 out of the next 2, going back home 2-2 at absolute worst, you're feeling pretty damn good about it, right? And obviously, if you could sneak 2 straight wins on the road, putting Denver down 3-1, that'd be the best situation. So, I mean, if I'm Denver, I cannot risk having a Jokic takeover type night and losing, right? If Jokic is going to go for 46, like if Denver would have lost game 1 when Jokic did what he did, 46 and 20 or 22, whatever he ended up with, and you would have lost that game, it's very similar to Donovan Mitchell when he went for 40 or 50, whatever it was. It's just a little bit mind fucking, right? Like you think to yourself, man, I just went 46 points. I had 46 points and 22 rebounds, and we lost. I dominated the glass and we lost. Like it would just feel some type of way. So I'm glad that they end up getting that win, but I still think Denver is going to win a couple more games. I wouldn't be surprised if this goes 7 and OKC wins in 7, simply due to the fact that Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. Okay, and we all know that, right? We've seen it. He continues to prove that again and again that he is who he is. And this OKC team, as much as I love Chet, as I love Isaiah Hartenstein, they just can't guard Jokic, and it's simple. It's known. We know that. They know that. So when we watch them play, and Jokic is putting up these remarkable things historically in this matchup head to head this season, and just he is too big and too dominant on offense to be stopped. So now it really comes down to: are we going to let the role players, come out here and win like that? Or are we going to let the role players thrive? And game 1, you saw that they kind of limited the role players as much as possible, right? They let Jokic do Jokic things, and they tried to limit everybody else. Obviously, Shea didn't have his best of games either, right? He had a good game, but I don't think he had like a Shea takeover game. So we're still waiting for one of those games. Obviously, he gave us one day 2, game 2. So yeah, man, there's just so much to look forward to. Again, I mean, playoff Jamal Murray gonna pop off for a game or 2. Yes, I could see that as well. So if I'm Denver, I mean, listen, whenever you got your best stuff, you got to maximize what you do with it. You don't want to be in a situation where you have another amazing Jokic and Jamal Murray game and you lose that game, right? So take advantage of what you have. Obviously, OKC just is so damn deep that, there's so many ways they could score. And when you have, again, Alex Caruso and Lou Dort putting up 4 threes a game, making them, cashing them, it's just so hard to stop as an offense. And the energy that they bring on both offense and defense is just so much to handle. And the youthfulness of the team is just so much energy. It's hard to kind of take the energy away from them. But huge bounce back game for OKC, obviously. Blowing the lead like that could have mentally hurt some guys, but they went out here and they showed that they're ready for the challenge. Again, they're currently at halftime right now, so we'll see how that goes. Currently a 5-point game, so we'll see how that all plays out. But enough of the basketball talk for the day. Now we're getting into some NFL talk. First things first, Shedeur Sanders drafted in the 5th round to the Cleveland Browns. He just posted on social media. They just posted that they just gave him number 12. Obviously, he has been known to be mentored by Tom Brady during his years at Colorado. Obviously, we heard that the Raiders were interested in drafting Shedeur. You heard all the rumors about it all offseason. He said he would look well in Vegas. All the stuff that's going on all throughout last season during college and the NFL. I mean, Tom Brady said he wanted to get involved in the Raiders organization, which he did, in ownership, and he stayed away from the draft. Okay, so this is, maybe that would have changed anything, whatever. But Shedeur Sanders, the question of the day is, can Shedeur Sanders be the starting quarterback of the Cleveland Browns some point this year, or can he start week 1 as a starting quarterback in the year, right? And when you look at that quarterback room, I mean, you just drafted Dillon Gabriel ahead of Shedeur Sanders in the 3rd round. You have Kenny Pickett, you have Joe Flacco, who led this team, exact same team, to the playoffs, right? They looked amazing when they got to the playoffs, and unfortunately just fell short to a red hot Houston Texans team, right? And when you look at this team and what it's built of right now, Kevin Stefanski is trying to find the quarterback of the future. He is trying to pave a way to figure out who's going to lead this team going forward, because I think Kevin Stefanski's done a great job. I think he's drafted really well. I think he's got the most out of these guys. I mean, listen, Jameis Winston went out there, and you got the whole Jameis Winston effect, right? You had him gunslinging. He could throw the ball for 300 yards, sometimes 400 yards a game, right? Give you touchdowns, but he also gave you those bad plays. And what he did with Joe Flacco, and how Joe Flacco's still looking really good like he did in Indianapolis last year. Maybe he can get something out of Kenny Pickett that we've never seen before. Maybe he can get something out of Dillon Gabriel that we've never seen, that we didn't expect to see. Or maybe Shedeur Sanders just takes over, right? So I am thinking Shedeur Sanders at some point this year will touch the field in a regular season game, whether that's they lost too many games and are shutting it down, right? And Joe Flacco doesn't play the last couple weeks, or maybe it's somebody gets hurt and he's the one to get promoted to start, or maybe Joe Flacco just doesn't have his stuff no more. Maybe Joe Flacco's age truly shows this year, and it's something that just, you can't bounce back from. So now you go through the Kenny Pickett story. Kenny Pickett goes in, he doesn't look so good, and all of a sudden, boom, Shedeur Sanders could be starting the last 3 to 4 games of the season. Because I do think he's better than Dillon Gabriel. All right, and this is the best quarterback room to be in due to the situation. It's an aging Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, who we've seen what he's done, Dillon Gabriel, and Deshaun Watson, who we don't think is ever going to suit up for the Cleveland Browns no more, right? And when you look at that, when you look at what is around Shedeur Sanders and who is there and the situation, this is the perfect place for him to be, because now he can come out here and show up and be in one of these situations where by default at some point he's going to be the best quarterback there. If he is who he says he is, and who I think he is as a quarterback, he's going to figure it out and at some point touch the field. And if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I am hoping there's an opportunity where I can start Shedeur Sanders, because at some point I want to know what I got in these guys. At some point I want to see, possibly, unless Dillon Gabriel's god awful at practice, I want to see what I got in him. Kenny Pickett under Kevin Stefanski, a quarterback whisperer, a quarterback guru. We've seen what he's done. Can he get the most out of Kenny Pickett? Kevin Stefanski's done a great job as an offensive-minded coach. So can he get something out of Kenny Pickett we've never seen? Can he get something out of Shedeur Sanders that just, allows him to take over as the quarterback of the future? Who knows? I'm kind of excited to see how this all plays out. But I do expect him at some point this season to come in and play a game or two, whether it's by injury, by poor play, and Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, or, something like that. I do think there's going to be some point in time where he's going to be forced to come in here and play a game or two. Maybe he comes in late, second half of a game, do a blowout, or somebody getting hurt and they're down by a lot. So here, Shedeur, let's go see what you got, right? So I'm looking forward to that. Again, I do think Shedeur Sanders is a very capable quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback. I think he's going to be a great player in this league. I do think I'm going to stand by that. I do think he's an NFL caliber quarterback. Do I think he's a top 10 quarterback or a franchise guy? I don't know, but I do think he can be an NFL starter. I do think he's more than capable of doing that, and I think with what he's done at college, with the offensive lines he's played with playing at Colorado, they won 3 games that year, 4 games that year, his first year there. there's a lot of things that I like about his story, and now him getting drafted in the 5th round is something else I just like to be added to his story. So again, I'm loving this for Shador, and hopefully, he can find his way on the field and make some plays. And take over that starting quarterback role. And then I want to get into the George Pickens trade. George Pickens was traded to the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys got George Pickens and a 6th-round pick. The Pittsburgh Steelers got a 3rd-round pick and a 5th-round pick from the Dallas Cowboys. Okay, listen. First things first, when you talk about George Pickens and what Pittsburgh is doing right now, right? Pittsburgh, again, I talked about this briefly on TikTok. Pittsburgh, again, is in a situation where you need a quarterback, okay? You brought in a guy like DK Metcalf. You said, okay, I want to invest in a guy like DK Metcalf. You use a second to trade for him. You signed him to $30 million a year. You invested all this money and time into DK Metcalf, right? You're still flirting with a quarterback. What quarterback are we going to bring in? Are we going to bring in Aaron Rodgers, who I think is just a bad choice? And at this situation, you have genuinely nobody else. And if you bring in Aaron Rodgers, I truly do think he will hurt this team. I think you could come out here with Mike Tomlin's first season ever having a losing season in the league, right? And that's not good for Mike Tomlin or for these aging vets or for someone like TJ Watt, who's trying to get paid and all these other things, right? So I'm hoping this is the Pittsburgh Steelers are looking at this as, listen, we're going to have a down year, okay? We're going to build up our draft assets and draft capital and eventually try to trade next year for a QB1, maybe an Arch Manning. A lot of people are talking about Garrett Nussmeier. I'm not a Drew Aller fan, but maybe they go next year and draft up for a quarterback and try to find a guy, okay? Because right now, you just need a guy, okay? Since Big Ben has been here, you have not had a guy to step in who's going to be a starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers, okay? You went through Kenny Pickett, Mason Rudolph, Mitchell Trubisky. You just had horrible, horrible quarterbacks throughout your entire since Big Ben has left, okay? And when you look at the style of what this team is, I mean, it's clear, it's evident. I mean, they're the most expensive defense in the league, and they're aging, and you continue to put more and more assets and money on the defensive side, and now it's time to invest in the offense, and you haven't done so. You've missed plenty of opportunities to invest on the offense because you're just happy with making it to the playoffs and getting absolutely clapped in the 1st round year after year, okay, which I know Pittsburgh Steelers fans are fed up with, okay? So when you look at that aspect, you need a game changer to win these playoff games or to make deep playoff runs, right? I mean, the AFC is just stacked. It's you have so many high caliber quarterbacks. Listen, the AFC West just got better, adding Geno Smith alongside Bo Nix, who made the playoffs. Justin Herbert made the playoffs. Patrick Mahomes, obviously, 3 Super Bowls, okay? Then you have Geno Smith just got added. You already have CJ Stroud, who maybe has a good 3rd-year bounce back. You have Trevor Lawrence, right? I mean, Tennessee they just invested the 1st overall pick into a quarterback in Cam Ward, so they're trying to figure that out. I mean, your division alone, you have Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson. Those are 2 of the top 3 quarterbacks in the league, right? And when you don't have a quarterback, a game changer at quarterback, he doesn't even need to be a top 5 quarterback, but you could have a top 10, top 12 quarterback, and he can still be a game-changing quarterback. He can make a couple plays here and there where, boom, he is elevating the guys around him. He is helping them close out games and extend drives. And when clutch situations, when you need it, he's going to be able to match a guy like Joe Burrow, like Lamar Jackson. He's going to be able to match production on offense that you need to win these type of games and to win these style of games, right? And if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm really, really looking at possibly trading TJ Watt, right? Because that's the most valuable guy you have, okay? He wants to get extended anyways. If you trade TJ Watt, right, you would have 3 1st-round picks, two first and a second, or a 3rd, or however way you want it to go. He's going to get you a lot. He's going to get you a bunch of draft capital, a bunch of 1st-round picks, and you're going to be able to retool this team, right? Because Pittsburgh has been able to draft well. Offensive line, defensively, they have done a good job drafting well. Receivers, for the most part, I mean, have gotten solid production when going there, and even when they're drafted late rounds, early rounds, when they get drafted there, they come in and at least perform. And then, Pittsburgh does a good job of getting rid of receivers at the right time. So maybe you're looking at a situation where, again, you're looking for an Arch Manning next year. You're trying to add up draft capital so you can trade up and get that number 1 pick and get a guy like Arch Manning, get a guy like Garrett Nussmeier, or someone to take over your franchise, right? So I'm hoping that's the way to go because you have to. I mean, listen, this team is old. On the older side of things, you have guys aging. Cameron Hayward, Minka Fitzpatrick is not getting any younger, right? You just have a lot of guys who are out here, and they're aging. They're getting older, and as time gets wasted and time's going on, where you're just okay with how good. I mean, you have T.J. Watt on your team. Okay, that should be enough to want to go out there and try to win something, right? And when you're just okay with being mediocre and getting eliminated in the first round, not even eliminated, getting belt to ass and embarrassed in the first round every single year, it's just sad, right? So again, George Pickens with his crash outs, we knew this was inevitable, right? He's been on the market. There's been rumors for a while. So now that George Pickens is officially gone, you kind of get rid of that story. You're moving on to the next. And again, Pittsburgh Steelers do a great job of getting rid of these guys when it matters most. I mean, you look at guys like Mike, or not Mike Wallace, excuse me. That was he played for Baltimore. But no, he did play for the Steelers. He started in the Steelers, yes. But Mike Wallace was a guy, he didn't have problems. But they got rid of Mike Wallace. Never really was the same after that. Santonio Holmes, same thing. Okay, you have obviously Martavius Bryant. You have Juju Smith-Schuster, Antonio Brown, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool. Like, there's just a lot of receivers who you had that you got rid of at the right time, and it benefited you and your staff, because the receiver, once you got rid of him, just never was the same, which is okay, right? Which is just, huge credit to Mike Tomlin and them guys to understand when it's time to let things go and stop trying to ride the wave and keep shit going, right? So again, for Dallas, what does this mean? George Pickens has already admitted that said that he's gonna play on his last year of his rookie deal. He's not gonna seek an extension right now. So what this means is, can George Pickens go to Dallas and have a career year? Because that's what we're waiting for you to do. We need you to have a career year and show that you could be a possible wide receiver one option on a team, right? And the way the market of the receiver is going, you're going to be highly wanted. Somebody's going to want you. I mean, I think even if you have a down year, somebody's going to want you. And I would be interested in a guy like George Pickens. I know there's a lot of, emotion on the field. The crash outs are there, right? People are making memes about him today, and all week, right? But I still think the talent's there. And when you're averaging, 15, 16 yards per catch, you're one of the best contested catch receivers in the league, right? And you can win like that. I mean, I've seen him do it against Trent McDuffie. I've seen him do it against the best receivers in his conference. And he's a great player, okay? Let's not get it twisted. He's a great player that's played with mediocre quarterback play. So now he gets a chance to go to Dallas. And I know I have my questions about Dak being a quarterback, but one thing I know they're going to have to do is, with that quarterback room being so short, right, with on the likes of Jaden Blue and what's his name? Javonte Williams, excuse me, right? I know they're going to air the ball out again, just like last year. They're going to throw the ball a lot. Dak Prescott's going to have a lot of passing yards, pass attempts, right? Which allows George Pickens to be able to get out here and get some footage, show what he can do, right? And go out here and feast. Because if George Pickens can feast, he's going to create another contract for him when it comes to upcoming free agency. So again, I still think there's a lot of upside here. I do question Dallas's ability to still win games even with this addition here. I know you add a receiver alongside CeeDee Lamb, so I understand the offensive, adjustments or the opportunities there, but I still don't trust his defense to win games. I still don't trust Dak Prescott. Now that we got another receiver, we're just gonna, again, it's gonna be repeated last year. They're gonna say, Dak Prescott, we're gonna let you beat us in the clutch, and we've seen how that worked out last year. Absolutely horrible. And then obviously he ended up missing a bunch of the season due to injury. Okay, so again, I'm not sold on the Dallas Cowboys. I'm not sitting here thinking the Dallas Cowboys are gonna win a Super Bowl, win the division. The Dallas Cowboys have a chance to be the worst team in the division. With how, if Jackson Dart becomes a hit, and you have Tyron Tracy, you have Malik Neighbors, you have maybe Cam Scatterbo pans out to be an elite guy. The defense you've added to that team, that defensive line, I mean, Abdul Carter, Kevon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, like, you're going to have some, Brian Burns, you're going to have some guys on that defense, right? And you added to that secondary. And if this team, I mean, if Jackson Dart could be a hit, if he can be a B minus quarterback this year, I mean, I think there's conversations that Dallas will be the worst team in their division. So with that being said, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. It'll be shorter. Next episode, obviously, we'll be discussing some more basketball, recap of what's going on. I will be discussing my top 10 NFL QBs going into next year. We'll start doing some offensive, some NFL predictions. I'm going to go through each and every division and predict their schedule and predict conference standing or division standings for the upcoming year post NFL draft. So with that being said, hopefully you enjoyed today's video. Like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on post notifications if you enjoy my content. And if you like my podcast, make sure to tell a friend, and tell a friend, and tell a friend. And if you like gambling or you want to be in my Discord, I'll put my Discord link in the link below. Go tap that out. We do pretty good in there. And then if you follow my TikTok, so you don't already, my TikTok description will be in the link below. And with that being said, I see ya. We done. We out here. Bye.